So hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm talking to the lovely Simon Hobbs, and we're going to talk about the Akashic Records full bang reading that he had nearly a year ago. We've just worked out. And so hi to Simon. And you were one of my probably very early on clients. I qualified as a practitioner in November. So you were probably one of the first to
I think it
have
was, yeah.
one of those. But before we get into talking about the reading and what you got from it, just tell us a bit about yourself, Simon, what you do,
Okay.
etc.
Thank you for having me on this morning. My name is Simon, as I say. For the last 3.5 years or so, I have been delving into the world of mediumship, spiritual and psychic. And um, while I was as well as this, I've been sort of developing my own sort of tradesman skills as a carpenter, as a maker of all things art and spiritual. And I can't remember exactly how Rebecca and I met. I think it might have been from a third party,
Yeah, it was
but
Lady Ginny. Lady
Lady
Ginny,
Julie,
wasn't it? Yeah.
wow,
Yeah, I
great.
just remembered that.
Hats off to her. So Rebecca and I started talking about where my journey was going and where her journey was going, and she mentioned about the Akashic records, and it's something that I'd heard of, but knew very little about. And being a newbie to kind of the world of spirit, etc., and mediumship and oracle and tarot, I was very interested to have a delve into my current situation, my past, and to just see, not as an eternal skeptic, but just to see what came up. And I was very much blown away by the information that you gave right from the onset. It was almost as if you had a list of eureka moments that suddenly made sense.
Mm.
Issues from childhood, deep gut-wrenching emotional thoughts and questions that I'd longed to find the answers to. Still don't have the answers, but it explained. The birds are getting excited. It
I was going to say,
explained,
is that your birds making that
yeah,
noise? Yeah.
yeah. It explained why not necessarily I can always find the answers, and why I am one of those people that always wants to know what's next and what's coming and where we're going to go from there. So it was a very much of an easing process and a kind of calm down. You're doing okay. This is why you're feeling this way. This is what you're here to do, which tied in beautifully. Um, so the reading described that I was here to share my knowledge and to be a fatherhood type figure. My chosen career was a teacher. I
Oh
had
yeah,
two. There's a
yeah.
phone ringing, which I'm going to have to ignore. I'm just going to say, oh, it's coming through on both things in 1 hour. Righto. And
Yeah,
and
you
I
got
had
the father,
children.
you got the father archetype, didn't you?
I got
And
a
an
father archetype.
engineer and liberator.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of the
Um,
things I look at in the readings is what are your positive archetypes, which were
yeah.
those three, and what was your learning archetype as a soul, and your learning archetype was rebel.
Rebel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries a bit, and that it kind of echoes into my spiritual development. I was saying to somebody yesterday that my protection and prayer prayers have changed a dozen times since I've been doing this, because I feel that I'm developing, I'm learning, things become more relevant, things phase out a little bit, and so always trying to keep on top of my goal and where I'm going to be. So it flagged up why I have this, had a connection to the sea and to merfolk as a child, as being an artist, that kind of thing. It flagged
Yeah.
up why, because it was one of my past lives.
Yeah, and
If
you're
it
also your
was past
main
life,
cosmic blueprint was Mintaka as well, which is
yeah,
the
it was the
planet of
purpose.
water and mermaids.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
then I channeled an Atlantis life, I remember now. And of course,
Yeah,
Atlantis is all about water and
yeah, and it said that it was suggested that I had something to do with almost terraforming or blueprinting other planets, other worlds, that kind of thing, which
yes.
made sense. That I also had a massive karmic debt because something I perhaps created had been used in the
Yeah,
wrong
that
hands.
I think that was the most interesting thing that came out of
Yeah,
your reading, and I often use you as an example. Like I just did a webinar on Atlantis and Lemuria,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
used you as an example in
yeah,
Atlantis, like from that life where you accidentally created something that got into the wrong hand. You were carrying a
yeah.
lot of guilt and shame,
Mm.
so that was something
And
you
so,
knew that you had to clear.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that was something that, in my role as a father and teacher and mentor, I am trying to ease that by giving wisdom, by giving love, like call it what you will, guidance. I'm trying to ease it that way. We weren't able to work out whether that object that fell into the wrong hands was to do with the reptilian race, etc., which could have led to the destruction of Mintaka. We don't know, we never will. But you can imagine me being there, the amount of guilt that you would have felt would be
yeah,
incredible. And this has felt like across the bare life, to be perfectly honest. It's been a tricky one. So yeah, the reading I've printed off, I've actually rewrote by hand in. I have a book where all my serious information goes about myself. It's in there, and it's something that gets picked up and quoted through almost on a nightly basis when I'm doing lives with various churches. I run development courses, and it comes up in conversation there. Um, and you can kind of feel. I know it might sound a bit odd, but I had a group of four ladies who had never met before some months ago descend upon the front room because they were here for the weekend, would like a reading, and one of them, you just felt that their origin was starseed, a little bit withdrawn, a little bit unsure of themselves. And when I explained about the basics of the starseed origins, it kind of, you could see it spark something within.
mm,
Um, so yeah, absolutely fascinated with by everything you said. And yes,
yeah.
it was just over a year ago. It was in November the 11th. And I kind of love to see how I almost want to come back and say, right, how have I been doing?
Yeah,
Because
and
this
you
is
and clients do that through my Akashic Records follow-up appointment. So we'll
right.
get you booked in for one of those
Wonderful.
where we'll go back, and because one of the things that I look at in the full bang, isn't it, is blocks. So
Yeah,
we had a look to see if you had energetic shells, and you did,
yeah,
and
yeah,
mirrors.
yeah,
And just for those that are watching, energetic shells are technique of the soul. So when we're born, we come from a really high vibrational place into this low density planet, so we put an energetic shell over to protect us,
yeah,
but that needs removing when we get into adulthood because it creates confusion with identity. And it's the same with the soul level mirrors that I found
yeah,
on you. This is another technique of the soul where we put mirrors up to reflect back to people what they want to see and they want to hear, because we don't want them to reject us, and those mirrors need to come down. So as
yes.
part of the reading, you get given 3 weeks of clearing homework, and in the Akashic
Yeah,
Records follow-up,
yeah,
we allow 3 months for it all to settle. We go back in and say, have these mirrors gone, have these shells gone? And then there's a lot of percentages that we looked at as well, isn't there? Like I know
yeah,
you were talking about your Hawkins scale of consciousness,
yes,
and in your original reading, you were at the level of 175 for pride. Just hold that chart up so people who don't know what it
yeah,
is can see. So when Simon had his reading on the 11th of November last year, the 11/11 portal, a really good day,
yeah,
he was at Pride
yeah,
175. And Dr. Hawkins said everybody really needs to be above 200 and above to vibrate. And
yeah.
we're gonna have a look a bit later to see if Simon has got up, of which I can guarantee you have, because I can see the changes in you doing your
Oh my
lives and
God.
the changes.
Well,
Do
yeah,
you think you have?
yeah, the membership of my page, I think just after Christmas, I had around 260. It's a closed page. And I know that Rebecca's going to put a link up for that if anybody's interested. There was just after Christmas about 260. And now today, I think I'm out. In fact, I'm going to have an up-to-date reading check for you. It's been lots of lives, almost 3 weeks, three lives a week. Nine through
Wow,
nine,
that's a
nine through
lot.
nine. Yeah,
So
I've
that,
just
so
been.
that's
Just,
one way that this reading has helped. It's cleared your pathway. It's cleared those mirrors. It's cleared those energetic shells. It's allowed you to vibrate at a higher
yeah,
vibration
I
on the
really do.
Hawkins scale. And we'll go and have a look at that later to see
Yeah, I really do
where
feel
you're
so.
at now. But we also do a lot of work around clearing negative karma from other lives, don't we? So you
Yeah,
were at 31%.
yeah,
So with my clients, like the highest range of that is 35. But I do find with a lot of my clients, they are at the top end of
top end, sure.
just near 30. It seems like we're
Yeah,
all carrying a lot of karma. And for that, I give you a karmic clearing workshop video to watch
yes.
with Natasha. So that's another thing that we need to look at to see if that's come down, of which it will have done from the clearing work you've done and all the work you've done over the past year.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's still high, because I feel obviously there's a lot more to learn and a lot more to give, and I still feel this drive to give as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Um, but I would imagine it. Yeah, it's my gut is telling me yes, it would have come down, but it's that start of the process,
Yeah.
toward enlightenment or whatever we want to call it.
And it does have this habit of going up and down because, as you know, we live all these past lives at the same time, don't we? If
Yeah,
you think about it in a
yeah,
quantum way.
yeah.
So things happen, and clearing your karma is a regular maintenance
Mm.
exercise that you should do, which is why I say with that video that I give to clients, I recommend doing it every 6 months because it's so
Right.
powerful.
Okay. I'll jot that down.
Yeah, so if you need
Um,
the link to it again, because I sent it you
yeah,
like a year ago, let me know.
yeah, we'll do, please. If we get to send it with the catch up. Um,
Yeah,
and also it's not one of these. This is for the audience really. This Akashic reading malarkey isn't something I feel is. You might buy a new set of oracle cards and you might put them on the shelf and you perhaps think, oh, I don't like those. This reading was so intrinsic. It just kind of knitted everything together. And I say it's right here in front of me. I can access it whenever I like. And it from the word go, I felt like this is something I want to do.
just
So I
tell
think
the audience what is it that you're accessing.
I'm accessing the information.
Yes,
I'm
because I gave you a soul profile document, didn't I, with everything in it to keep
Yes,
as,
yes.
as
So
reference. Yeah,
you provided me with a multi-page document. So you had the David Hawkins scale printout, which is always worth looking at, but I need to know the numbers to see it, kind of thing.
yeah,
You provide you with all the YouTube links to all the various exercises and the clearing process, similar to Reiki when you have your month's clearing after each Reiki 1, Reiki 2. There were things to do and practices to do there, so there's a link there. You get your clearing statements, you get your protection exercise, what to do and how to retrieve your self assets, and then the information sheet is just absolute sheer gold. Um, Numerous sheets that kind of highlight the key features of the discussion we have, which is over about an hour and a half. And that's the one that it completely spells out. So if I even forget what we said, I can look back and say, "All right, it's come back. I know my stuff."
that's exactly why I did it because
Yeah,
I've had so many readings over the year, and you forget what's in them. And I'm the
yeah,
type of person that I love to have a record, so that's why I thought I'm creating a soul profile
yeah.
document for my clients. Wasn't actually taught to do that.
Right.
It's a thing that I feel that I would need if I had this reading.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because you haven't always got the time to sit and watch another 90-minute YouTube clip or video of the situation. You perhaps laying there in the small hours and you have a dream and it comes and it something twigs it on your experience or you see something and you think, oh, I need to just double check that. It very clearly spelt out where my skills were spiritually, psychically. And I'm going to look back. I know damn well if I was to, after this call, if I was to read this from cover to cover again, I'd be thinking, I didn't pick that up the first time.
yeah. I still look at
Why?
mine and think that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I still pick mine.
absolutely. Um, so yes, this is something I definitely want to be dipping into, and I feel after a year and growing spiritually so much as I have done, the time is now right to come to you for guidance about you becoming my mentor in learning how to do this because I think it's absolutely fascinating,
Mm,
um, absolutely fascinating.
mm. One thing that was interesting about yours was your archangel realms, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just
Um, so this is where, as a soul, when we incarnate into this life, we pick an archangel realm to train in. It's a bit like going to university. And
Yes.
each realm has a theme, and it's the top 7 archangels that I look at. I ask in the Akashic records, which realm did
Yeah.
Simon work in primarily? Which archangel did he choose? And can you remember what you got for your primary one?
I can't remember, but I've got it in front of me. It was the realm of communication.
Gabriel.
With Gabriel.
Yeah.
Which fits the teacher role that I had. You know.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, yeah. Because
Complete. I was a primary school teacher for like 13 years. Before that, I was a graphic designer. When I was talking to clients, I was explaining things. But yes, the delivery of information. And now, having stopped teaching, I'm doing that through readings, and I'm doing that through
yeah,
development courses. So it made complete sense. The
yeah,
second one was Joffrey or Harmony. That was only 38%. I do
yeah,
like things balanced. I do like things calm. I don't do well in, didn't used to do well in chaotic, situations, but I'm a lot calmer. And knowing that he's there, she's there, whichever gender you want to call it, is a bit of an assurance. But yeah, definitely Gabriel, definitely with that one.
yeah. It's an interesting realm. It's just where it also means that it's important for people in this realm that they feel listened to.
Yes.
And in a relationship, they need somebody who's willing to listen to them. And if they're in a relationship with somebody who's not very good at listening or communicating, then it often doesn't
Yeah.
last long. So is
Yeah.
that something that's important to you? You need to feel like you're being listened to.
Yeah. Some might say that I don't shut up and I talk too much, and it's always my voice I need to hear.
Yeah, but that is what people are like in
But
the Gabriel realm. Yeah.
yeah, but it is something. Yeah, I do like to be heard, and sometimes it is upsetting when in various situations I can't get my words across, or I can't really talk about how I feel or what I really want. Um, and perhaps I think to a point, I don't know really what I want, so it's even more difficult for me to communicate because I'm not sure yet. And that links back to that starseed because I don't know where I want, what I want.
Yeah.
It kind of all fits together.
Yeah. I know what you mean. And with that archangel realm, one of the things that I ask for a client is, are there any extra soul resource gifts? Which basically means in those 5 archangel realms where you didn't score highly.
Mm.
Oh, and by the way, each of those realms correlates to a chakra. So obviously, the Gabriel realm is the throat, and the harmony Jophiel realm, I think, is the sacral. Usually it's a yes. There is a gift in another realm when somebody's about to step up their light work, and you got a yes, and it was in the realm of truth with Archangel Michael in the third eye. So, did your light work step up in terms of third eye work, in terms of clairvoyance and visualization from having this reading? Do you feel like there was a lot of activation in your third eye?
It must have done, and I think the biggest barrier to that is that kind of trust and belief, because still to this day, I won't call myself a spiritual medium. I will tell people I'm a psychic medium. I see things, I hear things, I feel things, all that sort of thing. Spiritual mediums work coming through, so I shouldn't really say I'm not because it does come through. But it's having the gut to say, you know what, I've just seen a tricycle.
Yeah.
I've just seen it, and I'm taking that risk more and more and more, and it's
Yeah.
paying off. So yes,
Brilliant.
it's trusting in it. It's just a bit weird sometimes thinking, can I say that? Have I seen that? Yes, bring it forward
Yeah.
and you can see it. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, just lately, my third eye and clairvoyance is gone. And even today, the last 2 days when I've been, because I see everything when I close my eyes, it's like
Mm.
VR goggles. The last 2 days, I'm seeing, I don't know how to explain it. It's like stardust. And yesterday it was silver stardust, and today it's gold stardust. And I'm like, well, this is freaking great because
Yeah.
sometimes I close my eyes and it takes me a while to see something, and I'm closing my eyes and straight away stuff's there at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
See, when I spoke to Lady Julianne, she was saying some people have a real good, not imagination. Some people, and she said she's like this. She can see almost, I can see you now, but I can almost see a layer of transparency in front of you where I can visualize an apple spinning, a car driving past. So it feels very much like I am it's not that, it's almost as if my imagination is overlaying, like in the VR goggles, but I can still see
Do
the
you
real
see
work.
things with your eyes open then?
Open and shut, I can see them now. If
Oh, that's
somebody's
interesting, isn't it?
now that might be the artist within me, always
Yeah,
been visualizing, visualizing, seeing things and imagining things. But I can see a narrowboat now just going past, and I've got no idea. Is that
that's
a racing?
amazing.
Is that
Well, I
just
do live right next to a canal. There's narrowboats literally outside there.
no way?
Yeah, yeah, they're just there. So
Live
there we go.
audience.
Example of Simon's
Yeah.
amazing psychic skills.
Yeah. Oh, goodness me. Right. Yeah. Narrowboat chugging past. Wow.
Yeah. So we're just about getting to the end of the interview. I'll just ask you one question, and then I thought I'd tell people about the little trinkets I've got for you that are in sale in my Etsy shop. I might as well show them, hadn't I?
Yeah.
So just final question, like why would you recommend somebody else get this reading?
Oh, goodness me. You know what? We're not talking about, I'm not mentioning money's cost or anything like that, but it is value for money. Absolutely value for money. And I think, yeah, absolutely. There has been no, when you start to develop either your gift or your passion for this field, whether you're a practitioner, whether you're just interested, you go through that stage of oh, so and so has recommended this book for that, or so and so is recommending this that. We all go through it. We all have a shelf full of spiritual books that we've never read but we've dipped into. And if you were to add up all the money you'd spent on books you've never read cover to cover, there's a lot of money there. This single document gives you a starting point for all those thoughts, all those ideas, whether you want to branch out into the Mintaka field of work or the Palladians, whether you want to go to energy healing, whether you're whether it just clarifies things for you that you perhaps thought, felt, or believed in yourself, or whether it opens up. I'm going to use the phrase "the shadow side" from a positive point. Whether it gives you a viewpoint to carefully look at your shadow, and might explain certain behaviors. It might explain certain directions that you feel you now need to go into. Honestly, for those 10, 15 sheets, it can spur on so much more. I mean, the books you referenced, I now own because they
Oh,
are kind of
brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
the Soul Mastery.
Yeah, I've just
That's
got it up there. Yeah,
I'm
for
quite
anybody
I'm
watching, that's Soul Mastery by Susan Shea Taylor. It's absolutely
yeah.
brilliant.
Um,
And the Dr. Atkins book, Power versus Force.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
that's another one I've never read because it's about that thick and the text is really small. But yeah,
it's
it's
a
up there.
difficult book to read, that, 'cause it's
Yeah.
quite scientific, but it is
One
good. It's a good one.
day,
Yeah,
one day I'll be dipping into it, but it feels like it's like the opposite of a spider web. No, you're not trapped with all these lines of inquiry. You are that spider, and you can now say, right, I'm going that way, I'm going this way, or I disagree with that. So maybe there's a block there that's not allowing me to see it in the way that I need to be seeing it, kind of thing. So yeah,
yeah,
that to
fantastic.
me was wonderful. So absolutely recommend it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Simon. And I just have to say, because it keeps coming in my head, probably because I just watched one of his videos, that you really reminded me of Alexander Quinn. Do you know who he is?
Never heard of him. Alexander Quinn.
Oh, well, you'll love him because he's very starseedy and galactic. So you will now become his biggest fan on YouTube. But I
Oh,
just
okay.
watched his video where he did a video with Pam Gregory, and
Right.
you just look like him, and you're totally channeling Alexander
Wow.
Quinn. If anybody's watching this, put in the comments if you agree with me.
And what
I'm
I'd
just
like you to
gonna,
do, when you add in the comments, when we've had our subsequent conversation, if can you put the score in for the Hawkins scale to see if it's gone up, and it will just
yeah,
be extra evidence for everybody else watching that actually a
yeah,
year's
I'm
made up.
gonna get my pendulum out in a bit because
Yeah.
I am doing a reading later on. So when I get in the Akashic records, I'll get your record open again, do a pendulum, and I'll put it in the comments so everybody can see where Simon's got to on the Hawkins scale of
Yeah,
consciousness.
we can have a little bet live, can't we?
I know, yeah. um,
Anyways,
I'm just going to grab the stuff
yeah,
then. So Simon makes, as well as doing readings and being a psychic medium, Simon makes things, of which I'm going to show you when I get the right box. So it must be this one. Yeah, it is. So in the description of the video, you can find all the links to Simon's websites and Facebook groups.
That's why I said on the message it'd be too expensive to post back, thinking you were still in Portugal.
Yeah, so when I first met Simon a year back, he sent me some things to sell in my Etsy shop that he made. And I've still got a few. Now I'm closing my Etsy shop down because I've decided I want to focus on services rather than products, so I can be a bit more focused.
Yes.
So these things of yours are currently in my Etsy shop, and I'll put my Etsy shop in the link. And I'm doing a 50% sale off everything just so I can close it down, and the sale's ending on the 25th of November. So for people watching this YouTube, if you're watching it after the 25th, then obviously this won't be relevant. And the date today of this video is
It's the what is the date?
It's the 18th of November.
Yeah. You got a week left.
So Simon, I know you love to collect driftwood and make things out of it. So this is one of your wands that you made that's for sale. Because you live near the coast, don't you?
I live in Dorset by the coast, and
Dorset.
so when I sent you those, I was very much beach combing and combining shells with crystals and driftwood and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so you've got a crystal in this one. This is a wand with a white quartz. This is in my Etsy shop.
Yep. But I shift focus. I'm now doing a lot more pyrography and wood turning, still with the crystals. Everything's Reiki charged.
Yeah, they're lovely.
There's so much on the website. Please can have a look. Oh, I'd forgotten about her. Yeah.
And is that Labradorite?
Labradorite. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Well, actually, I think it might be an agate. Looking through this, can you see through it? I think it's an agate.
Oh yeah, that's an agate. Yeah, because it's got the.
I think it might be from that. Yeah.
And then this is some pyrography on. You created like a wooden spoon.
Yeah, so you've got the 4 elements for earth, fire, wind, and rain, and it's a piece of driftwood that washed up. I've shaped it, sanded it, and I've scooped out so you could drop your incense onto the burner with it, that kind of thing.
And then this is hematite beads. I think of this as like an energy clearer.
Yeah.
These are all in my Etsy shop with 50% off. And then just finally some wooden bowls, which I think would be great for putting candles in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's one of my more recent.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's like a proper shaman kind of tool, isn't it?
It's about 4.5 foot.
Oh, wow.
It's a fox's skull with hagstones and bones and everything. And it's the perfect kind of.
Yeah, I love that.
Kind of thing.
Be great for ceremonies, wouldn't it?
That'd be fabulous. So yeah, I will send you the links after this, and yeah, please have a look. There's loads on there, and similar to you, for the next week, I think it ends next Friday, because I'm setting up shop down at the seafront. There's a promotion thing down there. There's a third off everything on the website until.
Oh, brilliant! Right. So, well, everybody watching this video, go down to the description, and you'll be able to access everything we've talked about there, and join Simon's Facebook group and join his lives.
Thank you.
Yeah, and obviously keep an eye out in the comments. We'll see where Simon is on the Hawking scale of consciousness as well.
Yeah, thank you. It'd be lovely.
But thank you very much for your time, Simon.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just stop the recording.